Long story short, my sister-in-law is having a gender reveal but didn't get her genetic test back, confirming the gender. She did get an ultrasound, but she's still early, 12 weeks, and was never told a confirmation of the gender during the ultrasound. She wants it to be a boy, so that's what she sees in the ultrasound. She works in a hospital, and everyone at work she had look at the ultrasound told her boy, yet she still always had doubts. By doubts, I mean at work, she would have a coworker scan her, and then she'd send me a pic and say, "What do you think? I can't tell what the position the baby's in." It could be a boy. I just figured that it would be kind of embarrassing if she had this party and then it turned out wrong, so it's better to wait until it's 100% certain. She never sounded certain about the gender until I told her to change the date of the party so she could know for sure. She said, "How dare I question her coworkers? They're professionals and know what they're doing. So if they said it's a boy, that's what it is." Then she uninvited me to the gender reveal. Am I the idiot for suggesting waiting until she had the confirmation of the gender? Am I the idiot for now secretly hoping her professional coworkers are wrong? Edit. She did get a genetic test done, just waiting for those results. If it happened to not come back in time, she was just going to base it on the sonogram pictures. She's waiting for the results of the blood test. I didn't tell her to wait for another ultrasound. I told her to wait until she had the results of her panorama test, which can detect if there's a Y chromosome. That way, it's 100% guaranteed, and that's why I suggested waiting until the results came back in. She's throwing a party next week. So she had a panorama done and is having a gender reveal before she gets the results. But why? I don't even get why these parties are a thing, but since they are, who are you to decide the appropriateness of when she has it? Sorry, but you are the idiot. Why do you care? If she's wrong, she's wrong. Why does it matter or affect you in any way at all? These parties became a thing because everyone's an attention-seeking monster now, and they need to create content and get gifts. OP, you are not the idiot, except for supporting the idea of a gender reveal party in the first place. They're tasteless, manufactured, look-at-me parties for someone who doesn't think a baby shower or two is enough attention. I hate that crap. The kid isn't born yet, and you're defining their gender for them. Whenever I hear someone having one, I immediately lose respect for the person. My wife's water broke 4 weeks early. In the doctor's office, prior to heading for the hospital, the doctor asked if we wanted to know what we were having. This was long before gender reveals were a thing. And of course we said yes. She told us we were having a girl, so we called our families on the way to the hospital and announced her name. It was a little awkward when my son was born just 2 hours later. The moral of the story, leave room for doubt. The original gender reveal party was put on by a woman who had many early pregnancy losses. It was less about what her baby's gender was and more about celebrating her pregnancy, which finally lasted long enough to even get to do the ultrasound that determines the gender. People then latched on to the concept of commercialization, culture wars, and other such drama. This very post is a prime example. That first woman is now an opponent to gender reveals, as they become a far cry from the modest positive spin celebration she had. Plus, the child for whom she had the gender reveal grew up to be gender non-conforming. I feel bad for that woman. To her, it was a milestone celebration, but suddenly, it started becoming the reason for forest fires. My 55 male, daughter 19, is taking 3 online summer classes this summer. In April, she told me that all her classes would be in person, so I paid for her summer housing and meal plan so she could live on campus. I didn't think much of it at the time because I trusted her. 2 of them are general education classes, English and physics, and one is a major specific class, so I figured she'd want to get her general requirements out of the way. I'm sure the major specific class is essential for her major. However, I just found out that her classes are all online. There's a third-party website that has information about classes each semester at her college, and I was just scrolling through it out of curiosity and happened to see her classes are all online with no in-person component. I was very shocked about how I was misled for the last 2 or 3 months. I know that she really likes campus life, but things do tend to tone down over the summer, and she's probably aware of the campus housing fees and whatnot. This means I spent a lot of money on housing and meal plans that she didn't need. I'm paying for her education out of her college savings, which we've been saving for many years, and I want to teach her the value of money and the importance of honesty. I was on the phone with her and told her I decided I was not paying for her housing or any of her campus fees next year. I emphasized that she needs to understand that there are consequences to her actions. However, she's really upset and says that I'm being too harsh. She says that in April, the classes were listed as in person, but they moved them to virtual at the very last minute after the deadline for housing withdrawal and refund stuff. I don't know if this is true, since I never bothered to check the class listings then, and I didn't see a reason she would lie about it. I told her I was very skeptical that they would move all classes online at the very last minute, because it would certainly disrupt some people's plans, especially those who lease off campus. My wife said that what I told her was too harsh and that unexpected things happen. So am I the idiot for not paying for my daughter's college housing and campus fees next year because she misled me about her summer classes? You're paying for her schooling out of her college savings, so you saved the money for school, which she is attending, and now you aren't going to use the money saved for school on her school? Everyone's the idiot here. She should have told you, but if the money's there for her education, what difference does it make? I would say to her when it runs out, she'll have to get loans to pay the difference. But he has to show her who's boss. He has to try to make her live at home so he can complain about when she gets up and who she sees. OP sounds like a controlling idiot. This is probably why his daughter would rather stay on campus year-round than spend the summer at home. Oh, and he just happened to be on a third-party website to attempt to micromanage her life. You are the idiot, OP. I, female 24, have 2 roommates. I'll call Steve, male 23, and John, male 24, who I've lived with for about 2 years now. We all get along, and the only life difference is that they're both fairly religious and attend church together every week. I grew up religious but took issue with the church for a lot of reasons, particularly with me coming out as gay. They have no issues with that, and Steve even went to Pride in our city with me so I wouldn't have to go by myself. Recently, John began talking to this girl on a Catholic dating app, and they seem to have hit it off. I've asked John if he'll be inviting her over, and that I'd love to meet her if he's comfortable with it. He shrugged it off the couple of times that I casually brought it up, but earlier today, he asked if we could chat. He asked if I would dress and act more modestly if he brought the girl he'd been seeing over for dinner. He said he didn't think it was appropriate for me to wear cropped shirts and ripped jeans if we were having guests over. I pressed him on it since we've had plenty of friends and even family over, with no issue. All John kept saying was that he really liked her, wanted to make a good impression with his living space, and didn't want her to think he was living with people that didn't present themselves appropriately. Asked him if it was because I was gay, and he hurriedly denied it and just said that, as a 24-year-old woman, I should dress more modestly when having company over. He wasn't even inviting me to the dinner they were making. I was just going to be home. My usual weekend outfit is a cropped band tee with a sports bra underneath and high-waisted jeans that have some rips from mid-thigh to mid-calf. There's no more than 3 to 4 inches of exposed skin on my stomach. I told him absolutely not, that I wasn't changing how I dressed in my own home, and that it was rude of him to ask. I stood up to go, and John asked if I could just not be around Saturday evening. My response was, screw that. I'll wear whatever the heck I want, and God can smite me for all I care. I just left him sitting there and went upstairs to my room. This request has come out of nowhere, and it just doesn't sound like John talking. That was yesterday, and I've since heard from Steve that the girl is coming over on Saturday. He also mentioned that John had asked him to invite me out with him for drinks so they could have the place to themselves that night. Steve doesn't seem to know about John's and my conversation. John has been giving me the silent treatment, and now Steve is asking me if I want to hit a couple of bars Saturday night with his cousin. I'm not against it, but I hate how John is trying to get me out of the house now. I feel petty and want to just stay home, but I know that's dumb. I've always had an okay relationship with John, and I'm starting to feel bad about how I acted. I wonder if I'm making this too big of a thing. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If John has a problem with a woman dressing casually in her own home, he shouldn't be living with one. This is an inappropriate request. I don't think being asked to vacate the apartment for a few hours is unreasonable if he's willing to do the same for you. I would establish that I expect to be able to bring girls to the flat and have privacy on occasion, if this is the precedent he's setting. I'd reverse the request to point out the entitlement and absurdity of his request. Ask him to wear gay pride clothing when you bring home dates, so they'll be more comfortable. Rainbow booty shorts. I totally would. Some sparkly rainbow pasties, too. Agreed. If OP chooses to go out Saturday evening, she has every right to have the place to herself for her next date and should communicate that as an expectation. But why would good Christians need privacy for a few hours? They're just going to be reading the Bible. I'm getting married in December of this year. I'm bringing 2 daughters into this marriage. They're a pre-tween and a tween. My fiance has a daughter from a previous marriage as well, Kiki, a teen. All 3 girls are in my wedding party, with Kiki as a bridesmaid. I'm letting all of my bridal party pick out their dresses, with the condition they're all the same color and within a certain budget. I'm also paying for all of them. Kiki sent me a link to the dress she liked, and I thought it was pretty. I planned on ordering it once I had the other wedding party members send me what they wanted. I was scrolling on Facebook one night, and one of the buy-sell groups I'm a part of showed the dress that Kiki sent me. It was only used once at a wedding, and it's in perfect condition. You can't even tell it was worn before. It also happened to be in her size, so I figured it'd be cheaper to buy this, as this is a dress she'll likely only wear once and never again. The new dress online is $200. The person was selling it for $50 and just wanted it gone. I've seen this dress in person. No stains, no smells, truly a steal. So I bought it. When I told Kiki, she got mad and said that she was the only one not getting a brand new dress. I pointed out that I'm still getting her new shoes and accessories. Again, all her choice. Having alterations done to the dress is needed. She'll have her hair and makeup done with us. If I found any other member of the bridal party's dress in a similar condition and at a cheaper price in a Facebook group or at a thrift store, I'd buy it. As it is, I'm spending about $1,000 on dresses for the 5 members of my bridal party. If I can save a little money, I will. Kiki wants me to buy her a brand new dress. I spoke with my fiance, and he's agreed with me. We told Kiki if she wants the dress brand new, she can pay the difference. She's still upset with us. Other members of my husband's family feel I'm being a cheap idiot and should just buy the new dress. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Buying your daughter's new dresses and buying your soon-to-be stepdaughter a used secondhand dress is so Lady Tremaine. She obviously feels singled out by her stepmom-to-be. Everyone else gets a new dress, and she gets a used one? Then instead of seeing her position, you tell her she can pay the $150 to get a new dress. I get you're being practical, but this isn't a great start to fostering a good relationship between you and Kiki. You coldly disregarded her feeling excluded. If anything, she should have asked her first, "Hey, I can get your $200 dress for $50. Would you like me to do that? Or you can have, or we can split the other $150. And she would have probably gone for it. Asking her to pay the difference is just the worst. I want to add another question here. Is OP hoping someone else will buy Kiki's dress? Like a relative or even Kiki's mom? Because the way she says it, it's like, why would a teen have to buy their own dress to be in their dad's wedding party? What child would ever have to do that? Your last sentence is on point. I'm not trusting the pure motives of this OP. Lady, how did you find the exact dress and the perfect size on the big old internet? Pretty sure you went searching high and low for it. Is $150 worth the relationship between you and your stepdaughter? If it is to you, then go ahead. People remember how you make them feel. She will remember for the rest of her life how crappy you made her feel, and over $150. I'm seeking advice on kindly explaining to my future mother-in-law why she was not invited to my bridal appointment. I went to a sample sale in December and bought the first dress I tried on. My 2 sisters and my mom were in the entourage. The dress was 60% off and was what I was looking for. Simple, no lace, no beading, no mesh, fit and flare with a train. And it was a no-brainer that it was the one. My expectations were low, and I was worried that there wouldn't be a sample gown to fit me, but this dress was it. Now, on to my future mother-in-law. She has been so bitter this entire planning process and makes a face of disgust whenever we show her our wedding plans. She hates the colors, the venue, the food, the photographer. You name it, she'll find something about it that she doesn't like. I hate what I see when I look in the mirror, so I wasn't mentally prepared for her inevitable criticism of the dress, as, in my opinion, it is, in a way, a criticism of my body. My fiancé disagreed and said she would never be so harsh about my looks, but I do not feel that way. She wouldn't have liked the experience. She would have talked me out of this dress. My future mother-in-law is not one to buy something on the spot. She would have wanted me to go home and think about it before buying it. Now, this is practical, but not how the sample sale worked, as you had to say yes on the spot. Otherwise, it would go to another bride. She also would not have been able to see my vision, as the dress still needed alterations. For these reasons, I knew taking her to the appointment would have resulted in tears, confusion, and not finding a dress. I swear, I intended to take her on the next shopping trip, which was not necessary, and if she had not started giving me the silent treatment, I would have taken her to a bridal fitting. Now, here's where I might be the idiot. Since getting the dress without her present, her negative comments have gotten much worse, and I've started getting my guard up as soon as we start talking about the wedding with her. It's to the point where I cannot even handle constructive criticism from her because I'm in full fight or flight mode when she's around. I don't know who is giving who the silent treatment at this point, but we've stopped talking to each other. Tomorrow we're supposed to talk with my fiancé present, and I need to explain to her calmly why things have changed between us. I feel like this all could have been avoided if she had just come to the darn bridal appointment in the first place, and if I had a spine, I could have just ignored her comments and bought the dress anyways. Am I the idiot? Girl, take a long, hard look at what you're marrying into. If your fiancé isn't defending you and telling her to back off now, as he should be, he won't do it after you're married. How long are you willing to live with this? Mother-in-law is fighting just to be difficult. She won't be satisfied with anything. This is not your problem to fix. Your fiancé is not supporting and protecting you from his mother. OP, your fiancé needs to rein his mother in now, not only to show her that he supports you fully, but to show you that he supports you. His line should be, "You will respect my wife, or you'll be silent. If you cannot be either, you will not be present in our life going forward." That's it. Unrepeat. Whining and crying? Repeat the line. Shouting and blaming? Repeat the line. And make sure he means it.